Hey everybody, welcome back to Bar Run Forge. It's Troy and we're glad you came across this video. Stick around. One of the most popular items that we make here in the blacksmith shop and for most blacksmiths is an item called the split cross. And the split cross is made from a solid square piece of steel, much like this. This is actually a blank that's been cut out, but we're going to use this as an example to make a split cross. And we'll actually show you the process as well, but one of the things that is the most frustrating and kind of time consuming about making the split cross is the setup. And it's usually done and cut at the bandsaw, the metal cutting bandsaw. And this is essentially what a blank that's ready to cut or ready to make looks like. This particular blank is done out of 1/2-inch square mild steel, and it's already cut, and you can see we've kind of got it laid out. You make one pass and to a certain spot, then you flip it over and to the other end, and then you make another pass, make that cut, which actually goes past this first point. We have this piece marked out, and normally what we would do at this point is just go straight to the bandsaw, and then you would just work your way through there, and it can be kind of difficult and kind of wear your hands off. You're going to do multiple of these. So we have an idea to use this piece of square tubing as a jig. So I'm going to explain that here in just a second. The premise behind the jig is this. We've got a mark here that is the length of the stock that we're going to put in the jig. We'll go back about 1 inch, cut this off, and then we'll insert a piece of 1/2-inch stock, weld that in, and then turn it up 90 degrees to make a handle so we can manipulate the jig easier. And then once you've got your blank, you can insert it in the jig. This line will be cut. You can insert it in the jig, cut your stock to the stopping point, take your stock out, turn it around, flip the jig on its side, and then make that cut to the stopping point. At that point, all you have to do is just cut the excess off right here, and your cuts are made. Your stock is ready to go. So I think we can do this to make it a lot more repeatable, quicker, and safer for our hands as well. Alright, the jig is complete. Got it all welded up. You can see it's got a stop for the length of our piece. If you want to know what the length of the piece is for 1/2 inch, it is 3 1/4 inches. Okay, Then we're going to make, on the jig, we're going to make a cut that is 1.5 inches, flip it around and over, and make a cut that is 2.5 inches. So that's what we'll do here in just a second. Get it set up in the jig. And like I said, essentially, it doesn't matter how you start it. You can go in with one, take it out, turn it around, 90 degrees, make the other cut. There you have one freshly cut split cross blank. And let's make a comparison to our original, or our key. Pretty good there. Pretty good there. Everything pretty well lined up. Worked out really good. Now let's talk about the jig. There's a couple things that I liked about it. And there's a couple things that I think I would do slightly different. One of the things we considered was making this two-ended with a stopper in the middle. And I think that may be a good way to go, partially because when you make splitting cuts in this square tubing, it does have a tendency to want to expand. So the other thing that I would do is I would probably use a little bit heavier walled tubing. So what we might do on another jig, I think we'll use this one. I don't think there's anything really wrong with this one, but is to use another piece of tubing with a stopper in the middle for total length, and maybe a handle on top of it, and use thicker tubing. That way you only make one vertical cut here, and on the other end you would have this vertical cut and go to that stopper. So I think that might be the route that we go, but this is definitely going to get put to use. It's a little on the crude side, but it works. That's the key. And that was much better on my hand. It was much better on kind of fatigue about trying to push into the blade, and it was definitely safer. My hand was further away from the blade. So all in all, pretty good tool, pretty good idea, and I think we can continue to improve on it. If I were to suggest anybody making this jig, I would definitely suggest that you use heavier tube, thicker walled tube steel, and again, I think we'll probably make one where it has both ends. This is one you can do and scale it. You can scale it up, you can scale it down. So as long as the stock fits in the tube, I think you can just continue to make these. The other thing that I think making with thicker wall will do is it'll help keep the blade from wandering inside your groove. But it's a great guide. I mean, I'm really pleased with how this turned out and how it's working. So if you guys are interested in making this tool, now you have some guides to use, and you'll have some split cross blanks. So what is the purpose of these blanks? It is to make something similar to this. Now, I want to talk about this cross for just a minute in a couple of different ways. This particular cross is kind of special to us. It was made in the split cross form, but it is from wrought iron that we found here on the farm out of our old dairy barn that my great-great-grandpa had here on the farm. And so we thought we'd do something special with it and made this cross. And the cross is something significant to us and very special to us as well. The cross to us represents Christ and his sacrifice for us. And I don't want to belabor the point too much, but we've already done, in fact, I think our first actual video here on the channel was about making a split cross. And it's kind of interesting that we've come kind of full circle and come around to how we're making more and more of these. So check that video out. We'll put a connection to that somewhere in the video. But keep in mind the cross and keep our eyes on the cross of Christ. Thank you guys so much. God bless you all, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.